Once in a great while, I would be on one of those cross-country flights at night in a jet fighter, flying at my assigned altitude of 34, 36, 37,000 feet, whatever it might be. And beneath me, as far as I could see in any direction, the earth would be covered with a solid blanket of clouds. No light, direct or reflected, from any city, industrial complex, or military installation. Just a smooth black velvet cover everywhere. The moon was down. The only light in the skies was from the stars. I would turn off the outboard running lights, wingtip fuselage and tail. I would turn off the radio after advising radar control what I was doing. I would turn off the audio portion of the navigation system, primitive though it was, and I would turn off the red cockpit lights. Cockpit lights in military aircraft are always red because that's the color that provides the best adaptation to night vision. Now, before you get the idea that this was some nut flying around at 40,000 feet endangering others and himself, let me assure you that was not the case. In the first place, this was about 50 years ago. There wasn't anybody else up there. Commercial airliners and private aircraft were still propeller-driven, piston-engine aircraft, and they were far below my altitude. In the second place, I was under the radar control of what was known as flight following, which was the predecessor of today's air traffic control system. My aircraft was assigned a block of air, 4 miles long, 2 miles wide, and about 1,500 feet deep, with my aircraft at the very center of that block of air. Wherever my aircraft went, that block of air moved with it. Penetration into that block of air was absolutely forbidden to all other aircraft, and should any aircraft be in a position or on a heading that could conceivably lead to penetration of that block of air, he or I or both of us would be diverted to make certain there was no possibility of a mid-air collision. Third and finally, this only took a short period of time, probably less than 5 minutes at the most. So if you put all of that together, I think you can quickly see there was no danger to anyone in what I was doing. At this point, the aircraft is completely dark inside and out. There's no bothersome noise. All incidental sounds are blocked off by a nice, comfortable, tight-fitting helmet, and the roar of the jet propulsion system is out the tail and completely unheard. The overall effect of this is an almost eerie sensation of isolation and suspension. Isolation because there's no contact with the earth, visually or audibly, and suspension because without light to give some definition to the clouds below, there's no sense of movement, there's no relative motion. The stars are so far away that movement in relation to them is meaningless. Altogether, it was sort of like being in a basket or a chair, motionless, suspended by a cable from the sky. With these feelings of isolation and suspension, there was a compelling curiosity, a curiosity that I would defy anyone to not feel, as he or she, under those circumstances, might look out into that limitless space. A curiosity that just bubbled with the obvious questions. What is out there? Where does it go? How did it start? Why are so many stars always in the same place? And is there such a thing as infinity? How can we define something that we don't understand and cannot measure? If you think about it, everything in our lives, everything we do, our work, our play, everything we organize or develop, life itself, everything has a beginning and an ending, everything except space. So is it possible that space and infinity are one and the same? Is it possible that space goes on and on and on and has no end? If it has no end, where does it go? If it has an end, what lies beyond? I found these questions to be fascinating, mind-boggling, and painfully beyond my smallest understanding or knowledge. The end result of this, the bottom line, was a feeling of deep humility. The feeling that our wonderful world, for all of the incredible advances in science and engineering and technology and medicine and all of the other avenues of progress and development, for all of that, our wonderful world may be like a grain of sand in the ocean compared to space. It's pretty hard to think otherwise. With this humility, there was resignation. Resignation that the mystery of space is so utterly unfathomable that to chase those questions any farther would just be an exercise in futility. So at this point, my little exercise was over. I made the aircraft fully operational again. I advised flight following and radar control that I was back online, and I turned my attention to the business of getting where I was going. Those questions have never really been answered. I still think about them. They still fascinate me. I wonder about them, and they bother me. That brief period of time, lasting only a few minutes at the most, was for me then and remains still today an unforgettable experience. As I reach the end of my part in today's program, I would like to again express my gratitude and appreciation and pleasure for being selected to receive this fine award from the Alumni Association. Not only for the honor of the award itself, but also, at least equally, for the honor of being placed in the company of those many fine graduates who have preceded me. I have thoroughly enjoyed being with you today. You've been a fine audience. I appreciate your courtesy and your attention. And with best wishes to all of you for whatever the future may bring, I say to each of you, farewell, good luck, Godspeed, and Merry Christmas.